and I do miss writing music, and I probably will do it again. But at the same time, I couldn't really see like a clear picture of what my life was going to look like in the future. And I was like, I don't know what I want to do. Like, I have no idea. And he was just like, well, think about what it is that you talk about every day.
Hey guys, welcome to Art and Life. This is your dose of creative inspiration filled with great conversation about the beauty and intricacies of art and life. This podcast is available on both YouTube and Spotify, so either subscribe or follow. Hope you enjoy. Peace. All right, so the camera is working. The audio is recording. Now, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Art and Life. This is season 2. Once again, I'm doing 2 episodes because, of course, if I have Mito, of course I gotta have LEILA too. Guys, my next guest is an absolute sweetheart. I already said who she was, but with such a soft yet vibrant soul and mind. Her style and eye for art is so full of color and is so distinct, you can almost feel what she's trying to express. You've come to know her as a musician, but today we're going to learn of all the things she is, even beyond that. Of course, following our previous episode, now we have Miss LEILA. Clap, clap, clap.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm good.
How was, just staying there in my bed?
It was great. It was very comfortable. I like your blankets.
Thank you. You should have just slept there.
I could have.
So thank you for coming today. I'm so grateful for you and Mita for even being down.
Thanks for having
this.
us.
Of course, I'm super excited to be discussing a lot of the new interests that you told me about. I'm very excited to be sharing that with you. But of course, we have our first segment, our new segment called ARTBREAKER. Which, of course, again, is an icebreaker, but with art in it. I'm going to be doing this with artists because I want to get to know and, of course, have the viewers get to know a little bit more about the people you support and idolize, the things you're listening to and the things that you're interested in. So let's begin with this ARTBREAKER of the night.
Gosh,
Okay.
I feel pressure.
3. Just kidding. All right, let's start off.
Okay.
Who is your favorite musician right now?
Oh, goodness. Troye Sivan.
Ooh.
Not right now.
Feel
He's
the
always
rush.
been... Yeah, I've been a big fan of him. Another one that
From the
Mito
start?
and I are both really into is Sabrina Carpenter.
I would love to. I need to get with my Sabrina Carpenter vibes because I'm not familiar with
Honestly,
her.
I'm like a basic pop girl at heart.
Tell me one that I need to listen to.
Feather.
Feather. Okay.
I have honestly when
Feather.
we do like the Spotify Wrapped, that's probably gonna be one of my top 5 songs.
Okay, I need to listen to Sabrina Carpenter's Feather.
Yeah, there's also Mito loves Tornado Warnings.
Okay, noted. Those two added Spotify.
Yes.
All right, what kind of tunes do you play when you're doing your makeup?
When I'm doing my makeup,
Sabrina Carpenter.
actually, well, Sabrina Carpenter. The honest answer would be yes, but there's other artists too. I like Victoria Monet.
Ooh.
Who else have I been listening to? Who do I listen to, babe?
Do you like listening to music when you do your makeup?
Actually, well, yes, it depends on my mood, but I'm also a very quiet. I like silence. I'm a quiet person.
You are a very
Mito's
peaceful.
the very he loves sound all the time. Whereas
You like silence?
I like to sit and just
silence.
sit with my thoughts.
I like silence too, though. All right, next. Favorite brand you've been loving to wear?
Brand?
Mm-hmm.
Honestly,
Or favorite brand in general? Makeup,
Favorite-
anything?
Oh, gosh, that really opens it up.
Shit, let's go back.
I think I love... Okay, let's do makeup because it's easier. I love Merit Beauty right now.
Merit Beauty.
It's very much like just your skin but better type
Natural.
of brand. It's all light washes of color, which I'm all about. So it's probably a brand that I really like right now. For clothing, I'm such a cos girl.
Cause.
I'm
you seem like a cause girl.
I'm like a little tita. I just wear, I've always been that
Elegant
way.
and simple.
Yeah. So
Cool.
that's me.
We got Cause and what's the other brand? Makeup?
Merit.
Merit. All right. Get your Merit and your Cause stuff, guys. All right. What's your favorite series to watch right now?
Gilmore Girls.
Gilmore Girls.
Yeah.
I haven't watched that.
I'm the type of person whenever I watch, well, actually at the moment, I like to watch things that have brought me comfort, like when I was growing up. So I always rewatch Gossip Girl. I always rewatch like those like kind of, they're
reminiscent.
not the best in terms of content, but they're just very comforting.
Yeah. I'm sure. I mean, like, it's like kind of a blast from the past and like you feel homey.
For sure. It's like Gilmore Girls is like 20 years old now. And it's also
I haven't even watched an episode.
You should. I mean, I don't know if you'd be into it, but it's definitely, for me, I like it because it's just very relatable. It's just about like family dynamics and, living through life. It's just like a slice of life type of show.
I'll watch it after this. Just kidding. All right. And lastly, because, this is about what we're going to talk about, you have a favorite photographer or any visual artist that you look up to right now?
I have two that I love. One is Yossigo and the other is Pia Rivarola. Yossigo is more of like an architectural photographer, and then Pia is more like street photography, journalism, photography. They're both like definitely my current idols in terms of everything, composition, coloring, just like the subject matter. It's just very much up my alley.
Great. And on that line, today our theme that we're going to be talking about is actually finding different things that you love and finding what truly fills your soul as an artist, because me and Leila, we've been talking about kind of this creative journey that we've been on. The first time I met you was very extensive also. We're talking about your music journey and how like your perspectives on it may have like kind of changed from back then to now. So I feel like this is going to be kind of the discussion of like how you are right now and how you're trying to find those things that you love or the things that you love again. Because if you guys didn't know, Leila is actually very much into visual arts and is actually very much into photography other than her music. So would you like to like kind of talk about like some of these interests that you've been kind of finding again?
Yeah. So growing up, I was very much into visual arts. My mum enrolled me in art classes from a very young age, and like art summer school. So I was just really like into that. And
what do you learn in art summer school?
All sorts of things. I did pottery, I did painting, I did like charcoal, like basically all the different art mediums. Depending on how often you go, you'll learn different types of disciplines. But yeah, so I would do that, and I was really surrounded by it all the time. I got my first camera when I was like 11 or 12, and I would take pictures of really random things like salt shakers.
You gotta share it.
I don't know if I know I still have them, but honestly, like it was just like getting me into like looking at the world in that way
and capturing it.
So that's always what I've been interested in. And then when I got to high school, I kind of like fell in with just doing what everyone else was doing, and there weren't a ton of.
And you were in Australia during this
yes
time, right?
I was in Australia, so a lot of my friends weren't really doing anything artistic. They were all into a lot of different things, and I kind of was like being a little bit of a sheep, I guess, and so I didn't pursue it as much as I wish I did. And then in recent years, I think actually when I started going out with Mito, and
Let's go Mito.
he really encouraged me to pay attention to what really makes me happy. And because I was at this point a couple of years ago, like I think 2019, where I was still doing music and I was still in that like showbiz sphere.
Heavily,
and I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I didn't know if that was where I wanted to like move forward. And so I was talking to Mito, and I was like, I don't know what I want to do. Like, I have no idea. And he was just like, well, think about what it is that you talk about every day and the things that inspire you. And from there, I kind of like ran with that and really started to dive into reconnecting with what I like. Yeah,
no, that's so awesome. Because like, I think I also kind of had that night where I found, what I love in filmmaking. Like I asked myself, this was the time I was in college, and I was studying something totally different, economics. And I was just alone at night, and I was really thinking, do I want to do this? Do I want to do economics for the rest of my life? Is this what's, because my family's all into finance and business is very different. No one was really like artistic.
It's completely
so I'm like,
different.
completely different route. And so I was like really just with myself, and I said, what makes me happy? What can I do that I know I can earn from, but I'll be happy doing? And that was really the moment that question just like flipped it for me. I was like, I want to be happy. I want to do things that fill my soul, And so for you, like the things that came to your mind when Mito asked that was what came to your mind again?
All sorts of design related things. I initially started studying interior design. That was the first thing I did after we had that whole conversation. And then I did that for about maybe 2.5 years. And then I decided I wanted to study graphic design. So I got into graphic design. And at the same time, like the photography thing was just kind of ongoing. It's really more of just like a personal way to express myself.
Yeah.
I don't really expect anything to come out of it. It's really just for me to like share with people. But those were the main areas of like creativity that I went into after that conversation.
So before this happened, like, as you said, you were heavily into showbiz. You were heavily into that music industry as well. Like, at this time, was it like when you were doing music, was it a struggle internally for you to be able to do these things? Like, or were you enjoying it? Like, because I'm sure like being around that musical influence and being in that industry, like there's a lot of pressures that come from it. Especially having people think that you're going to be a musician. You have to be a musician. Like, did that kind of like end up getting to you like during this time?
To a degree, for sure. I think I wasn't prepared for the amount of eyes on me and opinions. I'm very soft and like sensitive. So if you don't like me, I'm really gonna take that to heart.
It's tough out here.
It is. And, obviously not everyone's going to like you, but when it's on a scale where you can see what people are saying about you online, that was a big pressure, especially the fact that, I was essentially stepping into the same industry as my parents, and they have really carved out like their space in the industry. And so obviously there were a lot of people who were expecting a lot from me, and I felt like I wasn't living up to their expectations. So that definitely got to me, and I feel like I internalized a lot of, just not feeling good enough, and all my insecurities. I really like.
Yeah, and it's tough.
I let it consume me.
Yeah, and here in the Philippines, like a lot of people, like their opinions are just like they really feel like their opinions are the right opinions.
Unfortunately,
and they need to dictate where you're leading.
Yeah.
But I mean, like for you then, like where was a certain point where you were like, okay, maybe I should start thinking about things that make me happy again, or maybe having a different perspective on creating music like that actually makes my heart happy?
Well, those were two different parts of my life. So with music, I started out doing recording songs that were written by other artists. So I didn't really have much or any creative input. And then there was a point where my dad actually introduced me to Marcus Davis, who's a producer.
Ooh, love
he's
Marcus
great.
Davis.
And
shout out Marcus.
Yeah, shout out Marcus. And my dad introduced us, and we worked together. And he was really like a big catalyst for me writing my own music and changing my direction and wanting to do something that was more me. In terms of, in general, finding out what I wanted to do, or like just deciding that I wanted to do things that made me happy, I was actually going to a church, Favor Church, I think this was also 2019. And there was this lady that I was very close to there. And one day I was having a bad day, And after service, I kind of opened up to her about my, like, whatever I was going through at the time, and just like feeling unsure about my purpose, and also the mental impact that like being on TV and being, in the public eye.
Yeah, public eye.
The impact that was having on me. I talked about that, and she was like, well, maybe you want to take a break, or you want to like reconsider. And I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah,
I didn't think that was an option. And once I
Wow.
started, I was like, I got to keep going.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I could like, you know,
Actually take a break.
I could actually take a break or do something else. Like there's really nothing stopping me. So it was then that I started to consider like what do I want to do that makes me happy?
Yeah, no, I think like when you're in it and like when I feel like everything seems so fast and at you, it's like attacking you, because you have all these eyes again looking at you, and you have all these like things that you feel like you need to, as I said with Mitas, like you have to satisfy everybody. But I mean, like it's a blessing that you were able to just like, okay, wait, hold on, let me just think about myself too.
Yeah.
Maybe you were at a time where you were constantly thinking about everybody else, so it's eating you up.
Yeah.
Knowing that that's your personality.
Yeah.
Wait, what are you? Are you what's your sign?
Oh, I'm a Libra.
A Libra. Okay, I don't know much about Libra. I'm like trying to dissect it. But
We
yeah,
like
I mean, like
balance.
so after that talk with that woman, that what did you feel like the next day, waking up and like?
It was definitely like a weight actually lifted off my shoulders. Obviously, none of the issues went away, but the fact that it was like, obviously it's kind of obvious, like, yeah, we have options, you can do whatever you want, but I hadn't considered it. So when I was like, oh, I can like do whatever I want, I can, it was like it unlocked this whole world where, growing up, because I was kind of like just wanted to do what everyone else was doing, suddenly so many different options just like popped into my head, and my world became like a lot bigger.
Oh, that's great. And
Yeah.
like you have a lot of talent, you
Thank
have a
you.
lot of different creative abilities. So I feel like maybe you rediscovered those again. And that's kind of probably why, like, it started leading up to picking up a camera maybe?
Definitely. The camera's always kind of been there, like on and off. It's just always something that was really natural to me. But definitely getting back into studying, going to uni, that was something at that point in time. Like I wasn't even sure if I was going to get a degree, or like I just didn't know anything about where my direction was headed. So yeah, uni was like a really good way for me to kind of get back into thinking in a creative and like a visual arts perspective.
How long was that?
Well, I'm still studying. I'm
Oh,
actually,
you are?
yeah, I'm gonna, so I started off with interior design and then I changed my degree. So I'm gonna be graduating next year. But yeah, so uni was actually the main way that I was able to explore what I liked in design, and it opened me up to a lot of different things.
That's so cool though. I don't think I've like met an artist here yet that like they were in that mainstream industry and then they decided to stop and like study for a bit. Like it's such a different path, but like that's kudos to you, because you're like, well, maybe this isn't what I want right now. Maybe it's not what's making me happy, but I have to still, maybe you didn't have enough self-discovery yet,
For sure. I didn't.
and so like now, like in your artistic journey, studying, like how has it been like creatively? Like are you able to kind of like right now, are you focusing on photography? Are you writing anything? Like how has it been artistically for you?
There was definitely a long, like, kind of dry spell. I feel like as much as I'm enjoying uni and I'm grateful for uni, I'm also not the type of learner, which I was mentioning to you earlier. Like, I just like to run in and do things.
Yeah.
So school has always been like, I've really had to force myself
Yeah.
to do the work.
Is it every day?
No, thankfully. I have classes like 3 days a week. With like my uni work, I say my focus right now is more on graphic design because that's what I'm actively learning. And then I'm just trying to find like my, because graphic design is such a broad
Yeah.
thing. So it's like I'm trying to find where exactly I land there. And what's cool is photography kind of works hand in hand with graphic design and with visual
Yeah.
art. Like they're all intertwined. And so
Is there like a photography track there in the course that you're taking?
They have subjects that you can choose for photography, but with photography, I'm very much like, I have to force myself to sit down and like watch a video to learn
Yeah.
about, the exposure triangle. So it's like, I'm really just like, if I get a camera or I get any type of device or anything new, I'm not going to watch a video, or it's probably better that I do that.
Yeah.
But I'm really the type of learner where
You
I
need
just
to just do it.
I just want to just do it, which is, I want to learn to be. Mito's a great learner with like visuals and like watching videos and stuff. So I want to learn how to do that.
We're Sagittarius. Just kidding. Do you feel like you're kinder to yourself than you were, maybe back then when things were a little bit more, a lot of pressure on you?
If I'm completely honest, no.
We're all about honesty on this podcast, man. I'd rather you be honest.
I wish. I wish. But I'm very like critical of myself, and as much as I try to avoid it, I think comparison is like just something that's really hard to kick the habit, like I think now though it's not as bad. I definitely have more moments of clarity and like patience with myself where I'm like, everyone's on a different timeline.
Oh yeah.
And I just try to remind myself of that as much as I possibly can. But there are still times,
I mean, we're not perfect. And, even if I always advocate for like, I have a podcast that's like, really advocating about just being this certain type of artist and going for what you want. But at the end of the day, even if I talk about all these things, maybe tomorrow I'm going to wake up and I'm not going to be inspired.
Yeah.
I have a lot of those days. I have a lot of those days where I wake up and I'm like, I don't really want to do this. You're like, I don't want to like finish this video. I don't want to edit this thing. Like, but it's just having yourself just push it and just keep going. And like, but of course, like comparison is always going to be, it's going to be hard. But I hope you know how talented you are, and like how much ability you have. And like, I think it's just going to be a process to especially, again, coming from an entertainment industry like here in the Philippines. But do you feel with photography at least, like, has that really been feeding your soul lately?
Yes, definitely.
And you said you had a few trips with the family and I saw your photo journal.
Thank you. Thank you for checking it out. Yeah. It's right now it's more just like whenever I get the chance, if I'm in the car, I like to take photos in the car or anywhere really. And it's just a nice way, I think, because I'm not studying it, like it's not in school.
Yeah,
so
it's the best thing though.
Yeah, because like sometimes school or just work can like take the fun out of whatever you're doing, at least in my experience. So with photography, it's just like something I'm learning at my own pace and developing at my own pace, and I think it brings me a lot of joy.
Right now you're doing more landscapes, more like outdoors, nature.
More landscapes, like kind of journalism photography, so just people on the street. And I just I'm really interested in like the very small moments that usually you would miss.
Yeah.
When you're in the car on your phone or whatever it is.
Oh, that's nice.
Nowadays I find that instead of being on my phone, I'm like looking out the window, like seeing what would make a nice photo.
Yeah. Do you try to ever like, would you try to like make stories out of it? Because some people really want to have like that this photo has to have a total story, or as you said, you just want to capture the simple moments.
I think it's really just the simple moments. There are definitely times where it would be cool to capture a story, and I think there's a place for both types of photography. But what I'm enjoying right now is just like finding beauty in ordinary things. And like literally I took a photo and it was of like my family and I had dinner in our hotel room, and we left like the empty bottles and cups, and I took a photo of that because there was like a sunrise, and it's so boring, it's so ordinary, but for me it was just like it captured a little moment in time when I'd woken up in the morning and looked over and I was like, this is nice. And so for me, not every single photo has to have a huge story behind it or a huge meaning. It's really more just like the feeling that it evokes.
For sure. I think maybe that's the way you would express yourself as a photographer. Maybe that is your style, like finding those little moments. Okay, so is there any like passion projects that we can, where we can look forward to regarding either your photography or your music? I know you started thinking about writing again. Like, do you have any passion projects that you're looking forward to like maybe completing?
I have quite a few. They're not like near future things. They're just things I would love to achieve. One is I really want to create like a photo book, whether it be like travel.
Like those coffee books also.
Yes, I really want to do something like that. That's like a huge dream. I also really want to get into designing like wearable pieces. So,
ooh,
because just design in general, anything related to
you really have
design.
Like that style and eye for it though. Like your overall like aura
Thank you.
is really like it seems like you really have that eye and I guess knack for it. So I don't doubt that you can do all of that, Leila. You gotta believe in yourself more. You have everything. You all the skills and talent is like in there. Like,
wow, you're so good at hyping me up.
Seriously, it's just about to burst. So I'm excited for all your supporters that are, thinking about what you're doing right now. Like she is about to explode into creativity. But I'm glad that you're sharing all of this with us. I'm sure your supporters are happy to also hear about all these new ventures of yours, and I don't doubt that those are gonna be amazing. As long as you believe in yourself, because I do, Mito does, everybody does.
Oh, thank you.
You're not an imposter. You're completely amazing and talented and beautiful.
Oh, you're so lovely. Thank you.
All right. So thank you for sharing all of that with us, Leila. Now we're going to go to the third segment and last segment where I'm going to be discussing some of your past work and just thinking about what you was going through your head, maybe what was your creative process at the time, and maybe what inspired you. So let's go to Behind the Work with Leila. All right, let's start with Better Weather, the album.
Oh, Better Weather.
So it was an absolutely beautiful sound and voice. Your voice is amazing, Leila.
Thank you so much.
So beautiful. And all your tracks are just a flow. It's like a complete like expression of your soul. At this, creative level and journey of yours at the time, what would you say the track was like that connected to your soul the most?
From Better Weather? Spring, I think.
Spring?
Yeah.
Why would you say that?
Gosh, I'm bringing up Mito so much.
It's okay. We love Mito.
But Better
and I'm
Weather,
sure there was a lot of inspiration with Mito too.
Yeah. All the tracks on Better Weather, or most of them, were inspired in some way by my relationship with him, because it was blossoming at that point in time. And
you were like fairly new? No,
maybe like a year. And honestly, more than anything, he was just introducing me to like my full potential and introducing me to a different way of thinking. And so at the time, that's what I wanted to write about. And Spring is the song that I think it's the first song I wrote, actually.
It's the first of the album. Wow.
Yep. And it was it's the first one I wrote that I recorded after recording songs that were written by other people. And so it was definitely like there were other songs I'd written that I'd recorded, but this one was like the first one that I was like, when I heard it for the first time after recording it, I felt so happy. Aww. I wasn't like cringing at myself, which is what I had done prior. So I was like, oh wow, like I'm finding my sound. Aww. And also it was special because I really got to express like how this relationship in my life was making me feel. So
that's beautiful. So did you have like this initial vision for it, that you wanted it to be like different kind of seasons in your life? Like how did that vision come to life, and like where did it start?
It kind of happened very organically. Like I didn't start out kind of planning it and saying like I want to have this theme. I wrote Spring, and then I don't know, I was like, it just makes sense to do
another weather.
We have rain. So yeah, it was more just like, also because at that time I was going through different seasons I was moving from one season to another season, and like I mentioned earlier, I was going to church at that time, and we talk a lot about like seasons when you go to church. And so I was very like, that was what was on my mind. I was thinking about like, where am I at right now, what am I moving into, and it just felt fitting to use that theme.
Cool. No, I loved it. Like I love the vision of like, different seasons of my life. So how was the creative process of this? Was it long? Like, especially now that you had Mito on it, like, how was the creative process now having a partner on it? Because that's not very usual to like, I've never, have I worked on a film with, I have, but I mean like it's probably very different and unique to have someone like your partner writing with you?
It definitely was an interesting experience. Mito and I are very different songwriters. Our process is very different. I like to write by myself for one, and he mentioned earlier in his podcast that he is more of like lyrics first, melody second. I'm the opposite. Melody
interesting
first, yeah. And so when we were writing together, like our process was just not
was not it.
Not the same. So we actually recorded separately.
Oh, really?
And wrote it separately.
Wow.
Still worked out great. It was, it was still really cool to work with him. And
did you designate, okay, you're gonna be this verse, you're gonna be
kind of, I mean, I just would like write, and then I would think like, where would, I knew I wanted him to be in that EP, so I was like, where would he fit best? And that was, Time was the one where he really worked well.
So how would you like compare the LEILA during Better Weather as an artist to the LEILA now as an artist?
Wow. That was like, I'm like more nature imagery, but I was
it's
like
all
a
good.
bud.
Use it, girl.
I was like a bud. I was starting to grow. It was like the beginning of my creative adult life, essentially, because up until that point, I had just been doing a lot of what other people were doing, right down to joining showbiz and all of that. So I really felt like a baby at that point. Like I was just
a bud.
Yeah, I was just discovering what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
And now I still feel, like I said, I still get the imposter syndrome and everything, but now I'm so much more sure of myself and my path, and I know what kind of artist I want to be. Back then it was like, yeah, I could write songs and I like the songs I make, and it was fun for sure, and I do miss writing music, and I probably will do it again, but at the same time, like I couldn't really see like a clear picture of what my life was going to look like in the future. So that's the biggest difference. I think I'm just a lot more sure of myself now.
Amazing. So happy that, you're able to find that clarity after a while. Maybe stepping out of that scene, just getting the noise out a bit and like finding what truly is in line with your soul has really made a great impact for you. So that's great. And I'm happy to hear that. All right, so now we're going to talk about your photo journal at LEILA ALCASID photo, right?
Yes.
So you have a great eye for this. I saw it. I stalked your little photo journal. What made you, well, we discussed that you wanted to just start up your account again, but like, was there maybe a day where you were like, you know what? I need to start documenting all this because one day I want to look back at it. Like, did you have like a kind of aha moment, like, I need to make one right now?
I was talking to my friend Bea. She's one of my best friends, and we have a lot of very similar interests. We always say we're like a Venn diagram because we're the same but different. And
That's so cute.
Yeah, like she studied graphic design. Now she's doing interior design. I'm doing graphic design now. So but anyway, I would send her my photos that I would take, and she's always been like really, really supportive of me, and she would tell me like, you need to post this, because I would never really, I'm not great at remembering, even though it's my job, I'm not great at remembering to like post things.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, maybe because it's my job, I don't think about it. But she was like, you need to share like the photos that you're taking because people will like them. And I was like,
and they are beautiful, LEILA.
Thank you. And so multiple people really encouraged me, but she was one of the first who made me believe in myself.
We need more people like Bea, right?
For sure.
Let's go, Bea. So what are your, so you can look at your phone for this, but what are your favorite snaps? And we'll flash them here while we're talking about them, but what are your favorite snaps on your photo journal?
I don't have my phone on me, but one of my favorites, I'll like explain it to you.
Sure,
so you know which
I'll
one
find it.
One of them is on the beach, so it's like a horizon photo. Very, there's been a billion horizon photos, but what I like about this one is it just, for me, like I was on a trip with my family at the beach, and I hadn't been on a trip with my family for months since I had moved out of home, and it just felt really nice to be with them, and the sun was going down, and I was just feeling really like warm and fuzzy in that moment. And the photo isn't even the photo isn't even of my family. It's like the ocean, and then there's like 2 little kids playing. Oh. But it just, you know, like we were saying earlier, it captures like memories, and that for me was just like a warm memory.
Oh. Are there other ones in the photo album that you can
There's a few others. There is one of my uncle. So he's like looking out the window at Pinto Art Museum in Antipolo. And that one was also a really nice day because I went with Mito. We spent time with my family, and Pinto is like a really special place to Mito and I. We had one of our first dates there.
Oh.
So I love being able to go there and take photos. And this one photo of my uncle is just like, I don't know, it's just nice. It has light coming in and it has this warm vibe. Another one that I love is, I took it in Publishon. It has like a blue wall. Mm-hmm. It's this lady, she's selling like soda, and there's like a blue wall behind her. And I just like that I think the colors are very vibrant. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of my first time like having the guts to like take a photo of someone where they're looking right at me.
Yeah, because you said you kind of get shy.
Yeah, she knows I'm taking a photo of her, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this
runs.
is so scary. Yeah, but it turned out nice, and so yeah, I think those are some of my favorites.
I think I'm kind of like really getting to know your eye also. I think you also express yourself through nature a lot.
I do.
Your visuals and just the way that you think, like
even my words.
Yeah, your words, your being. I think you're a plant. Just kidding. No, but I mean, like you're very grounded. You're very in tune, and like you know, I'm sure right now, like if you were a bud back then, you're just about to blossom. You know, you're going on these different new paths in life, and you know, like again, you're so talented. So you should never ever like doubt yourself that you're gonna make it in any path that you choose. So thank you for, you know, sharing those, sharing, you know, your personal journey. I mean, like I'm sure these were also very intimate moments that you shared with me about, you know, certain times in your past and your artistic journey. But I'm sure a lot of your supporters, for Mito and Leila, like you guys have just been so open in these 2 episodes, and I'm very thankful. You have a lot of people that admire you, I'm sure, that are gonna just take a lot from what you said. And you know, this, you know, like I feel like you have to be open with life. Like don't like box yourself into one certain thing that you have to become this thing. You know, there's so many possibilities and so many different paths that you can take in life. So
definitely,
you know, is there anything that you would like to say to maybe anybody that is at a place where they don't know where to go, or like they don't know which path to take?
I think despite the fact that I admitted that I'm not always patient with myself, being patient with yourself is the most important thing, and just taking your time. If you rush through things, you're going to miss certain moments, or, you know, little like light bulbs where you go, oh, I could try that. When you're like just trying to keep up with everyone else and rush through things, you miss all the little moments. So I think take your time and explore everything, and if there's something that piques your interest even a little bit, it's worth looking into, because honestly a couple of years ago I wouldn't imagine that I'm like doing the things I'm doing now. I would think that I'm still, you know, doing the showbiz thing. So yeah, it's okay to not follow through with the first thing you try, or the second thing you try, or even the third thing you try. It's totally okay to start something new, and you shouldn't feel bad about it, and try not to compare yourself to others, because comparison is the thief of joy.
I feel like you're talking to yourself too.
Yeah.
That was great. I'm sure you guys are gonna love that. Well, thank you, Leila, again for the time and for sharing all of that. Is there anything that you would like to plug? Anything that you would like people to check out or look forward to?
Honestly, you can check out my photo page if you want to. It's LEILA ALCASID .photo. And in terms of things I'm doing in the future, hopefully I write some new music soon. I would really like to get back into that, and I know some people have been wanting me to get back into that.
She's coming, guys. Hold on.
And also the travel vlogs. I will bring those back. I promise.
Oh yeah, she's a YouTuber. You can get back to it.
I miss it, honestly. with the pandemic.
I know. There's not much to
not much to do. Like, who wants to see me
now
rotting in my bed?
Like, hey guys, this is another day.
Yeah. But many travels coming up, so
back to the YouTube, Leila. All right. Thank you guys for watching another episode. If you guys are on YouTube right now, please do subscribe and like this. Also leave a comment, share some love, share some support. Share the love, guys. We all about love here. And if you are on Spotify, please do rate the podcast 5 stars and follow it. As always, guys, thank you so much for the support. Please keep supporting the podcast so we can keep having amazing artists like Leila and Mito. Thank you to Leila and Mito for coming tonight. And yep, that is the podcast. I did 2 in one day.
You are amazing.
All right. Thank you, guys. I'll see you on the next. Peace.
Bye.
Thank you guys for watching. If you liked the episode, go hit the like and subscribe button or rate the pod 5 stars. I'm a one-woman band on this, so your support would mean a lot. Peace.